What's up, YouTube? We got
Hunter
here.
Hunter Estabrook, what's up?
Yeah, he just played in our ETBattle City tournament today. We had 5 boxes on the line. Starlight for first. I thought his deck was interesting, so I wanted to get a profile of it.
Yeah, I'm Bubble Gang. I bubble out of every event, so that's the way we do it.
It's all good. It's all good. Now, what you played today?
I played Salad. I played the deck since it came out, and like it's very good. Not in the fact that it does anything. It's just very consistent, and I really like to play those very good, consistent decks. Like I played this. I played Earth Machines. Like they don't really do anything, but as long as they have a little bit of back row and a bunch of hand traps, you can really like take on whatever metagame as long as it's not like too bad. And so with the return of Mirage Stallion, the deck honestly is better than it was before. The problem is the metagame is a little bit faster and it's harder to play. So it's harder to really do well with, but you know, I won a box tournament yesterday with this. I decided to just play the same list and just go with it. I think I changed out a little bit of the side deck just because there's more Drytron here, but yeah, Drytron's really the main problem with it. But as long, otherwise, like it has good matchups across the board.
Okay, well let's get into it.
So I played 43. I didn't even realize it. I was playing 45 when I started the tournament yesterday, or before that. Took a couple cards out just to try to slim it down, but it's 43, and that's the best that they can get whenever you want to play this many hand traps. So we played triple Foxy and triple Spinny. You want to be able to hit your Mirage Stallion. I think this is one of the best ways to do it. You got to max out on the level 3s, and then there's another level 3 later on that'll help you do that. But at the very least, this is some of the better cards here. We got 2 Jaguar for the Recursion, just another really good card. And the fact that you have all these engraved and they will all stay engraved pretty much means, you know, even if they Nibiru, even if they go through your board, as long as you have a second turn, you can generally play the game. And so we do 1 Gazelle, 1 Falco. I didn't feel the need to play any other, you know, Salamangreats, but I wanted to max out on the really good ones, and then, you know, consistency. For sure, for consistency on that.
Did Crow an issue for you at all?
I mean, not today. Yesterday, I mean, people played it, but I won, so I mean, it wasn't that big of an issue. Crow and Bell really do kind of make it annoying because you want to be able to summon Spinny like every turn if you can. Because first turn you set up with Stallion, second turn you just try to kill him.
Right.
So this is all the salads you really need. I think this is enough normal summons as well because you play 3 Buffalo. I really don't think you need to play Lady Debug. I was trying 1, but honestly, Debug just makes it harder to play the game. If people are main decking Drolls, then you're really just going to get hit out of the water. So you at the very least want to be able to draw 2, and then to be able to draw into something. But I'll also play Double C Archiver, which is something I pulled from my old list whenever I used to play. C Archiver is really funny because it helps you chain block a lot of different situations that you normally otherwise wouldn't. And it's a level 3, so you can go straight into Mirage Stallion with the other level 3s, or you know, you can also go into Object Jammer with it. And it's a little weird, but I'm only playing double Parallel Exceed. It only messed up once yesterday whenever I drew 2 of them. It's not the biggest issue if you you know, only play 2. You try not to draw into the second one, but and it's also very weird in Mirage Stallion because you have to use it first. I made a mistake yesterday before I did that because realistically, if you just do your regular play and you do Parallel Exceed first, then you can just make Dweller and then do the rest of your combo.
Right.
But yeah, you know, you could play 3 and, you know, have potentially pitch 1 off this, but it's another way to help chain block. You know, these 2 chain block really well, and that's another way that I really don't have to worry about Ash, and maybe Bell, but, you know, otherwise, you still get hurt by a little bit of hand traps.
Abyss Dweller is insane right now.
Yeah, and Abyss Dweller is insane. Like, if you can just make Dweller, just make Dweller. Like, I know that it can make Dweller other ways, but this is just too easy to make Dweller.
In the words of my father, just don't draw the second one.
Yeah, just don't draw the second one.
Don't be bad.
Just don't draw it.
And that's really all you need for the main deck monsters. Realistically, whenever I side, I generally side these out unless, like, I'm just specifically trying to OTK going second. A lot of times I'll side out 1 or 2 C Archiver as well. And sometimes I'll side out a Spinny, maybe, depending on like how much I have to side. But you know, very consistent, very good main deck for that. I'll get into hand traps in just a second.
So here comes the war crime, right?
Yeah, you see all these hand traps.
I
but,
see
like,
the stack.
you also want to play triple mining just for the consistency issues, and you don't care if you pitch. Pretty much, like, everything in the is pitchable and it's fine,
Yeah.
other than maybe Gazelle. And because we play Will, we play 2 Will, it doesn't matter. I've
Right.
pitched, literally I've had this in hand, so I've been able to pitch Gazelle off any of these, and it doesn't matter. So
Soul Charge.
it's just very, very consistent, and that's the main part that you want here.
Right.
So consistency cards. I mean, even if you draw like really, really crappy and you have to look for something, having this is just insane. It's just very, very insane. I also play Double Desires. I kind of want to play a third one. It's very difficult because of all the hand traps we're playing, and I'd rather have the hand traps than a Desires going second. So, you know, I could side one out if, you know, after game 2 or 3, but I would really rather at least game 1 only having 2 so that I can use all my hand traps. We have the Saki one of, the thing you put back with Fantastic May, and another Saki one of.
This card is so good. I didn't realize this, but I've heard people talk about how you can play around Droll with it.
No, it's extremely helpful, because especially because you can use this during your draw phase. If they try to draw you, you can chain this to Droll if you really need to. But honestly, most of the time you're just going to be using it first off. And then the things to draw into is the 2 of each trap. Beforehand, I was only playing 2 and 1, but I figured having a second one of these traps is really, really good, because you can draw into it. It also means that you can just use it to reset itself and add back circle if you have both. Not big of an issue. And then we have all the hand traps that you're trying to draw into. So triple Ash, it's nuts because you can add it back. We have triple Phantasme.
Oh, back to the day.
I think it's really good, this format, because pretty much everything has to use a link at some point. Drytron generally goes into Link Haribo, you know, all the Tri-Beast decks, very easy to use, and it helps you draw into the other, you know, hand traps that you need. And you can put back the field spell if you don't use it or if you draw it, so that's pretty nice.
Definitely helps you in the Sky Striker matchup, I'm assuming, too, because that's a pretty...
That's the thing, like the Mirror, the Sky Striker matchup, you know, Tri-Beasts into Drytron. You know, I'm not thinking of the other decks, but also like Prank Kids, like pretty much everything has to do it at some point, especially
Alistair
early.
dot decks.
Yeah, and if you do it early, then you can just drop this and you can try to draw into one of these and stop the combo. Or the other hand traps that I play, I decided to go 2 of all the other ones. I'm not playing Impermanence, and I wish I was, but it's hard to play Impermanence and Phantasme, so I just went with 2 Valor, 2 Crow, 2 Bell. All have their own, you know, uses, but they're all generally generically good against most of the other decks. So I was fine with doing 2/2/2 instead of like 3 of any specific one, because I really like Valor. It hits most of these decks. I think it may not hit Drytron very well, but like, you know, there's other cards that we use.
Valor is amazing against Drytron.
I never got a chance to use it specifically like that. Obviously there are other hand traps that we could use, but these are all the basic ones. I figured game 1, you know, if I go first, I really am not worried as long as I have like one or 2 hand traps, because I generally can try to get a trap where I can set up Dweller or something, and I can side into the other just like blowout hand traps, because none of these hand traps blow out, but as long as I can force a grind game, then I can generally do pretty well with all the salad stuff. And I'm going to go to side deck first, because action deck is generally pretty generic, but I side the blowout hand traps just to try to make sure that, you know, at least game 2 and 3, I could use those to just try to win the game going second. Just purely. I really don't think there's anything else to say about this. I don't want to main deck either of these because there's not enough that they're good enough in game 1 when I'm playing an unknown deck, but I think, you know, going game 2 and 3, I'll generally side these in against a lot of the other matchups. So I was playing Twins, but I decided to go for Lightning Storms inside these instead of Twins. Another good blowout hand trap, and I could have played 3, but I wanted the 3rd Crow because there's so many Drytron players here today. There's specifically just for that. I don't have Cycle Reader. Cycle Reader's pretty good, but I don't know. Like, I could have played this as one Cycle Reader, but I kind of like the Lances. I wanted to make sure I had something against Tri-Beasts, against the other couple decks, and then I figured, like, you know, I could either play Twins or I could play like Lightning Storm, and I think this is just a little bit better. It's just a blowout against back row decks, and I'm of the opinion, and I've done this for like at least a year and a half, always siding strikes, because it's amazing. You go first, you're gonna go first, you side in strikes. You know you're gonna go second, side them out, side in hand traps. It's just very, very worth it, and like, one strike honestly just kills a lot of decks.
Yeah, you need that. It's definitely really good going first against like combo decks and.
100%. And honestly, like, it forces a grind game even against like grinding decks, because like if they only really do have one normal summon to do something with, like prank kids, they do their one normal summon, they try to link off, like, no, like you have to have some extra backup for this. Like I said, I would never main deck this just because it's not good going second. It's okay if you play like torrential, or like goes in a rivalry, like it's okay if you do it going second, but you know, otherwise I would say side it for the most part. And then the extra deck is pretty generic. This is for when I get nibbed all the fucking time. We have triple Balinks, triple Wolf, and I figured double Helio. You don't have to play this, but considering that we play Stalio, you're gonna be in a grind game. You're forced into fires a lot of the time, so I figured, like, yes, you only generally do it going whenever you do your first turn play, but you know, if you need to do it a second time, or you know, it gets left on field and you can use it again, then they have to decide: do I want to get rid of this and like maybe they'll TK me next turn, or do I leave it there and like maybe they'll use it, or maybe they'll TK me, or like what? I don't know. So it's really nice, and you know, you can always use it to go into Helio, and then you get like 2 effects, meaning you can chamber like this if you really need to.
So I want to say, actually, shout out the Top Cut podcast. I was on an episode with them, and they were doing a ban list prediction, and we were actually talking about this card coming off of the ban list in that episode. So
like it and Engage, honestly, I would say this is more impactful than Engage coming back. I know that's a pretty bad opinion, but like this makes it so much easier, because in the past, if you were just going to go for a rank 3, then you had to make this in the extra monster zone, and then you couldn't, like, you'd have to summon the Jaguar and use both of them, and you'd have to try to get your Balinks later. But now you can just make this in the normal monster zone, summon either Gazelle or Jaguar, and then use that for the Balinks, and then you continue from there. You don't have to like link this off if you don't want to, and it's a threat if it stays there, because if they can't get rid of it, then they
super versatile card, just outs things.
We always play Dweller. The deck always makes Dweller. It's very, very good. That's not a card. And then everybody plays update, transcode, access code. It's just the easy way to go game. You know, first turn you use Stalio, second turn you try to do this for game if you don't feel like you're going to grind. And the last 2 spots are flex spots. People play a lot of different things, like they play Baguska, you know, there's a whole lot of different things they can play. Splash Maids make sure that Spinny Spinny or Jaguar after turn 1 is always automatic access. So you can always, you know, if you have nothing else in the field, then you can Spinny your Jaguar and then go into Splash Mage, go into Transcode, go into Access Code. You get the 5300 and you get multiple pops, because if you're at least going through these, you have these 2 plus a fire. Or, you know, if you're going through the update loop, you get at least these 2 and a fire. So you're always going to have 3 pops with access. And then, you know, I could play Baguska or I could play Phoenix. I think in this meta, so many people play back row that Phoenix is just good, because you can Phoenix underneath this, get your draw, you potentially get a card back there. It's just too many pluses, and in the grind game, it's just amazing. It's really, really, really good. And then the field center,
doesn't play it. Phoenix.
All right.
So, like, that's the deck. It does, you know, exactly what it did before, but the fact that you don't now have to make Barrage Stalio in the extra monster zone makes it a whole lot better. Again, like I said, the real issue with it is everything is just faster. And so, like, in a format where they hit certain things like Drytron, honestly, it can handle any other deck pretty much. And it can handle, because of the fact that it can play so many hand traps, you can play whatever you want. So, like, you know, if they did hit Drytron pretty hard, then you could just, like, main deck Lanceys, or, like, main deck other stuff just to hit everything else.
Right.
So the deck's really consistent, and that's all it needs to be. Really, really fun, very easy to play. Not cheap anymore, apparently. But yeah, that's the deck. That's the side deck. That's what I like to play. I wouldn't really change much about it. You know, I think the only thing that could have changed today is, like, you know, knowing a little bit better rulings, but otherwise, you know, it's pretty good.
Well, you got any shout-outs, man?
No, just, you know, to Steel Fox Games and Shreveport, my boys, all doing well, you know, top 4, of course.
Blur my hands. Blur my hands.
Actually, not actually bubbling like I do all the time. So, yeah, pretty good.
All right.
Check out the channel, have fun.
All right, this is Dark Arm Dealing signing out.